Laura's heels clicked across the hardwood floor as she stormed toward the front door, Sam's favorite stuffed doll clutched in one hand, her keys swinging wildly in the other. Before I could call her name, she flung the door open and was gone, leaving the door to swing shut with a dull thud. I stood frozen, heart pounding, the metallic tang of last night's coffee still lingering on my tongue. The early morning hum of Colfax Avenue drifted through the crack in the door. I barely had time to exhale when my phone buzzed. An unknown number. I swiped to view a photograph of Laura under the Green Mills neon sign, draped against Trey's chest as he strummed a guitar. The date stamp read April 12, 11:17 p.m. Behind them, the band's drum kit gleamed under stage lights. Laura's laughter was frozen mid-echo, her head tilted toward Trey. My hand tightened around the counter edge. My mind raced. She went out after our fight over Sam's nap schedule, yes, but at a concert. I forced myself to inhale deeply, the scent of stale coffee and Sam's half-melted pancakes hanging in the air. The silver pocket watch on the counter caught a shaft of sunlight, its ticking suddenly deafening. I pressed a thumb against the edge of the photo, zooming in on the way Trey's hand rested on her lower back dot. The front door's latch still clicked in my hand as I replayed Laura's exit. I sank onto the couch, silver pocket watch resting heavy on my wrist, and let my thoughts drift back to simpler days, before that April night fractured everything. I remember moving into our Capitol Hill condo on June 10, 2018, hauling boxes of baby clothes and IKEA parts up 2 flights of stairs. The smell of fresh paint mingled with the sweet scent of homemade waffles from Snooze below. We spent that first weekend assembling Sam's crib, me reading instructions while Laura attached the mobile featuring little owls. We laughed as Sam tried to grab at the dangling toys, his gummy smile lighting up the room. I felt as though we were building more than a nursery, we were knitting our family's future. Weekend evenings were sacred. We'd leave Sam in his high chair, baby monitor perched on the counter, and slip out to Indigo Cafe in Rhino. Laura's eyes would sparkle as we sampled their lavender latte, and we'd talk without interruption, about work, weekend hikes to Rocky Mountain National Park, and dreams of someday building a vacation home by a lake. I'd watch her hair catch the dim cafe light and think, this is home. Then we'd return to Sam's bedroom, where he'd babble in his crib, content to know we were back. On October 5, 2019, when Sam arrived, everything shifted. I'll never forget stepping into the hospital nursery at St. Joseph's and seeing his tiny fist grip the edge of the crib while nurses whispered updates. Laura's tears fell as I held her hand. Those first weeks, we fell into a rhythm, late-night diaper changes, early morning lullabies, our silver pocket watch ticking on the dresser to mark each tender moment. We were a team, partners in sleepless nights and proud first steps. When Sam took his wobbly steps on March 2, 2021, Laura caught him in her arms, tears of joy streaming down her face. I snapped photos as he tottered toward her, each click capturing the bond we shared. In January 2024, when Laura returned to Evergreen Records full-time, I believed it would be a new chapter of balance. She'd celebrated a promotion to junior coordinator on March 15, 2023, and this next step felt well-earned. I remember our toast at Edge Restaurant, Denver's lights glittering below, her calling me her rock as she sipped champagne. I thought we were invincible. Yet subtle shifts began. On January 25, 2024, I found a bar tab for Green Mill Lounge, $64, on our joint credit card. It surprised me because we'd planned a quiet Friday night in for our 6th anniversary on January 20th. When I asked, Laura explained she'd gone to support a coworker's band. She said Trey, a musician friend, asked her to show up for moral support. I nodded, guilt surfacing. I didn't want to be the controlling husband, so I brushed away the unease. Then, on February 14, 2024, Valentine's Day, she told me she had to work late. I didn't think twice until I found a small guitar pick in Sam's toy bin stamped with TM. I asked her what it was. She took a breath and said, one of Trey's bandmates dropped it at our house, must have been leftover from when I babysat his nephew last week. Her tone was casual, I believed her. I slid the pick into my pocket that night, telling myself don't overthink it. In March 2024, I noticed recurring Lyft charges to Green Mill Alley at 11:15 p.m. on March 14 and March 21. When I mentioned it, she sighed and said, the band needed me for sound checks. Everyone counted on me to bring coffee. I accepted her answer. After all, I trusted her and didn't want to be the paranoid spouse. On March 30, 2024, I chatted with Rachel, a mutual friend from our church, over coffee at Aviano Coffee on South Broadway. Rachel mentioned, "Trey really lights up when he talks about Laura's taste in folk music. They make a great creative team." Rachel's tone was admiring, tinged with something else I couldn't name. At the time, I felt a flicker of pride. Laura's talent was being recognized. I didn't question it further. Then came April 5, 2025, a Sunday afternoon when I finally noticed another red flag. I pulled our April statement and saw a $98 instrument repair charge at Harmon Music Shop dated April 3rd. When I asked, Laura said Trey's mandolin needed tuning for his gig. I nodded, accepting her explanation. But something in her eyes, like she was waiting to gauge my reaction, made me uneasy. I closed my laptop and looked at Sam's stuffed owl on the couch, its button eyes staring back as if urging me not to let this slip away. The silver pocket watch on my wrist ticked steadily, reminding me that every second counted. I need to know exactly what's happening, I thought, tension settling in my chest. Scanning the room, I noticed Sam's wooden blocks scattered across the floor, a customary sign of his presence. I stooped to pick them up, gently placing the owl in a corner. As I stood, I made a mental note: gather every piece of evidence before confronting Laura. The time for denial was over. The residue of late nights, unexplained receipts, and hushed conversations formed a puzzle that I now had to solve. My next steps would be deliberate and precise, and this watch would keep me grounded as I unraveled the truth. I exhaled, feeling both dread and determination. With Sam's laughter echoing from the adjacent bedroom, I rose and walked to my home office, ready to track each clue. The afternoon light fell through the blinds as I opened a fresh journal, flipping to a blank page. I wrote at the top, April 14, 2025, begin documenting Laura's movements. The watch ticked on my wrist, marking the start of a journey fueled by betrayal but guided by resolution. The morning sunlight slanted through the blinds as I sat at the kitchen table, the silver pocket watch tickling my wrist like a constant reminder that time waits for no one. After replaying those memories and late-night receipts, I knew I couldn't linger in denial any longer. By April 16, 2025, 8 a.m., I found myself walking briskly toward Little Owl Coffee on South Broadway, where my younger brother, Marcus, and my close friend, Olivia Chen, a licensed family counselor, waited. Marcus greeted me with a firm pat on the back. "David, sorry you're here under these circumstances. Let's sort this out." Olivia offered a sympathetic smile as I sank into the booth, sliding my phone across the table to display the April 12 Green Mill photograph of Laura and Trey. "It's worse than I imagined," I confessed, voice low but deliberate. "She's been meeting Trey after hours, and leaving Sam alone." Marcus viewed the image in silence before nodding. Olivia leaned forward, voice calm, "You're taking the right first step by talking to us. Now, document everything. Log every suspicious detail, gather evidence, and consult an attorney. I'll help you track both Sam's responses and your emotional state, essential for custody considerations." Marcus added, "I'll fly in this weekend, help you organize. You're not going through this alone." For the first time since discovering the video, I felt a flicker of resolve. That afternoon, I met with counselor Laura Kim in her Capitol Hill office. Her room smelled of eucalyptus and sunga wood, a serene counterpoint to my turmoil. I recounted the April 12 on-stage video, the late-night meet and greets, and the dubious finances. She listened attentively, then advised, "David, maintain a detailed log. Every time Laura leaves late, note the date, time, Sam's reaction, and your own emotional state. These will be pivotal if custody becomes contested." I nodded, opening my leather-bound journal to create column headers: date, time left, return time, Sam's behavior, and notes. By April 18, I had an appointment with attorney Teresa Morales in her Lodo office. Her workspace was minimalist: white walls, dark mahogany desk, and a brass hourglass recalling my grandfather's watch. She greeted me with a firm handshake. As I handed over screenshots of Laura's April 10 message, "Meet me after my set," and printouts of lift receipts to Green Mill Alley at 11:15 p.m. on April 12 and April 15, her expression remained professional. "This is substantial," she said. "We'll file for legal separation and draft a custody plan." She leaned forward, pen poised over her notepad. First, preserve all evidence in its original form. I'll need notarized copies of these documents, plus any bank statements and bar receipts you've collected. Her eyes locked onto mine. You'll need a clear timeline, each suspicious charge, every late return, and any communications. Meticulous detail is your ally. I felt a knot tighten in my chest, but also an undercurrent of determination. This was no longer aimless anguish, it was a strategy. On Saturday, April 19th, Marcus arrived with duffel bags stuffed with highlighters, sticky tabs, and expanding file folders. We transformed my home office into a makeshift command center. Stacks of binders labeled messages, receipts, security footage, and counseling notes lined the desk. Olivia came later to help formalize my log according to Laura Kim's recommendation. Together, we recorded all late-night details from mid-April. April 12th, Laura left at 10:15 p.m., returned at 1:08 a.m. Sam awoke crying, unsettled. David felt anxious. April 15th, lift pickup at 11:22 p.m. to Trey's East Colfax loft, return at 2:10 a.m. Sam refused to nap the next morning. April 17th, guitar pick, TM, engraving, found in Sam's play area. Sam clutched his owl at bedtime. Each entry felt like forging another link in an unbreakable chain. The silver pocket watch on my wrist clicked with each note, its steady beat a reminder that time refused to pause. Next, I installed 2 discrete security cameras from TechGuard, one overlooking the front door and another in the hallway outside Laura's home office. Careful to avoid recording Sam's play area and my bedroom, I focused strictly on Laura's movements. By Monday, April 21st, both cameras were live, recording to an encrypted external drive. I tested each feed. April 18th, 10:22 p.m., Laura's Audi idling in the driveway. April 18th, 10:30 p.m., Laura entering Trey's East Colfax loft. April 19th, 1:02 a.m., Laura re-entering our condo. The timestamps aligned perfectly with my earlier notes, cementing the timeline. Meanwhile, I drafted custody proposals in a fresh section of my leather journal, sections titled Primary Residential Custody, Visitation Schedule, Child Support, and Therapeutic Counseling. For Sam, too, I specified that I would seek full-time residential custody, proposing that Laura have supervised weekend visits contingent on completion of counseling and proof of stable housing. I calculated monthly expenses. Daycare at Little Generations Academy, $1,000. Pediatric visits at Rocky Mountain Children's Clinic, $250. Contingency fund for summer preschool, $500. Each figure I wrote felt like re-establishing stability for Sam, something Laura's betrayal threatened to shatter. Late that evening on April 22nd, under lamplight, I notarized documents, snippets of folk music humming softly from my speakers. I tabulated every lift charge. April 12th, 11:17 p.m., Green Mill Lounge tab, $76. April 15th, 11:15 p.m., lift to East Colfax, $14.82. April 18th, 10:30 p.m., lift to East Colfax, $15.50. I logged phone call lengths and noted observations. Sam's bedtime disrupted, cried at 7:05 p.m., sensing Laura's absence. Olivia encouraged me to document Sam's emotional markers, clinginess, nightmares, and his relief when I held him close. By April 24th, Marcus had helped color-code evidence and stapled documentation into binders. That afternoon, I texted Teresa, all documentation prepared for May 1st filing. Her reply arrived within seconds, excellent. We'll submit the separation petition on May 1st at 9 a.m. Despite fatigue, I felt a quiet pride. I wasn't a passive victim. Each notarized page, each logged entry, each conversation with Olivia and Teresa edged me closer to clarity and justice. The silver pocket watch on my desk glinted under the lamp, its steady tick affirming that although Laura's betrayal fractured my world, I still controlled my next moves. On April 25th, I met Laura in our living room under the pretense of discussing Sam's upcoming pediatric appointment. She appeared tired, her eyes shadowed. I kept my tone measured. I talked to Teresa today, I said, watching her reaction. She forced a curt nod. She needs proof to file. I'll be submitting the petition on May 1st at 9 a.m. Laura's mouth opened, but no words emerged as she processed the calm finality in my voice. That night, I sat on the couch with my logbook in my lap. Sam's stuffed owl toy lay beside me, its button eyes a reminder of his innocence. I opened my journal and wrote. April 25, 2025, evidence compiled, custody outline drafted, cameras installed. Feeling resolute. Next, file separation petition on May 1 at 9 a.m. I closed the notebook, the silver pocket watch reflecting lamplight, and realized that although the path ahead would be arduous, I would walk it deliberately, each tick marking another step toward justice and a new beginning. On May 1, 2025, I walked into Teresa Morales' uptown Denver office, the silver pocket watch in my hand feeling heavier than ever. Laura sat across from me, shoulders tense, eyes guarded. Teresa stood behind her dark wood desk, arms folded, her calm demeanor a stark contrast to the turmoil churning inside me. I placed a folder labeled, Evidence, May Motion, between us and inhaled, bracing for the truth. Laura, I began, voice measured, this folder contains everything, texts, receipts, and security footage. I want you to see it all. I opened to the first page, an April 17 screenshot of Laura's message to Trey, I need to feel alive again. Below it, Trey's reply, meet me after my set. Laura's eyes flicked to the image, then away. Teresa cleared her throat. We also have stills from April 18, Laura exiting home at 10:15 p.m., entering Trey's East Colfax loft at 10:30 p.m., and returning at 1:02 a.m. She slid 2 photographs onto the desk. In the first, Laura's silhouette appeared under streetlights, in the second, Trey's loft door framed her embrace of his arm. Laura's face went pale. I continued, voice steady, I have a bar receipt for 2 at the Ruby Room on April 12, $76 charged to my credit card, billed as a band celebration. Our anniversary was April 5, and Sam was asleep at home. Laura's lips quivered. I was trying to celebrate your promotion, she whispered, voice wavering. I shook my head. My promotions happened in March. On April 12, I was out of town. You were here without me. The bar tab matches Trey's performance date. I lifted a framed wedding photo from Teresa's credenza, our best moment at Red Rocks on October 5, 2018, and turned it face down. Laura's eyes flicked to the now hidden image. Teresa interjected, we also have financial records showing a $98 instrument repair charge at Harmon Music Shop on April 10 under Trey Marshall. And the lift records place Laura at Trey's loft on April 15 at 11:22 p.m., returning at 2:10 a.m. Laura's shoulders slumped. She glanced at the silver pocket watch on Teresa's desk, its ticking echoing the stakes. I'm sorry, she murmured, tears welling. I didn't mean for it to hurt Sam. I remained seated, arms crossed. You turned our home into an afterthought. You left Sam alone while you chased a thrill. I held up a simple brass key, our spare condo key, and placed it beside the closed wedding photo. This key opened our sanctuary. Now it stays here. A single tear traced Laura's cheek. Teresa closed the evidence folder and offered her a tissue. Ethan will file the separation petition today. Custody terms will include primary residential custody for Ethan and supervised weekend visits for Laura, contingent on counseling completion and stable housing. I exhaled, feeling a weight lift. Standing, I met Laura's eyes, steady, resolved. Goodbye, Laura. As I stepped into Denver's bright May 1 afternoon, the silver pocket watch ticked against my wrist, each click affirming that the turning point had arrived. In each measured beat, I sensed the first breath of freedom since betrayal's echo rattled our world. 2 weeks later, May 15, 2025, I sat in Denver County Court as Judge Alvarez signed the final divorce decree. Laura relinquished our Capitol Hill condo and agreed to supervised weekend visits for Sam, too, contingent on completing counseling and securing stable housing. I obtained primary residential custody. A support order stipulated monthly payments from Laura's royalties at Bluebird Records, covering daycare at Little Generations Academy, pediatric visits at Rocky Mountain Children's Clinic, and summer preschool. Each clause felt like a new plank in rebuilding stability for my son. That evening, I returned to our empty living room and removed Laura's guitars and picks from the shelf, placing them in a donation box. I hung a new framed photo above the mantel, Sam's first steps at the Denver Zoo on May 10, 2025, his chubby legs wobbly but determined. The silver pocket watch rested beside the photo, its steady tick marking the beginning of our new routine. Over the next 2 weeks, late May 2025, I re-established a nurturing schedule: morning story time over pancakes before walking Sam to daycare, afternoon visits to City Park for ranger programs, and bedtime lullabies while holding my grandfather's pocket watch against Sam's chest. Each ritual reconstructed trust through consistency. I reconnected with Marcus, Sunday hikes at Red Rocks Amphitheater, where we shared stories of resilience under Colorado's towering sandstone. Olivia continued counseling sessions with Sam, helping him process the separation through drawing and play therapy. Sam's laughter returned. He delighted in chasing pigeons at Civic Center Park and savoring ice cream cones at Sweet Action, each small joy a testament to healing. One May 30, 2025 evening, after tucking Sam into bed, I opened my laptop and drafted my first blog post for From Betrayal to Balance. I wrote about confronting betrayal calmly, preserving evidence, and prioritizing a child's well-being. By midnight, I hit publish and waited. Within hours, supportive messages arrived from readers across Colorado and Utah. "Your story gave me courage, thank you for showing how to rise above." I smiled, outlining future topics: rebuilding trust as a single parent, embracing solitude with purpose, and mentoring others through heartache. On May 31, 2025, Sam and I picnicked at Cheeseman Park. He toddled between daisies, clutching his stuffed owl, while I watched Denver's skyline glow at dusk. I checked my silver pocket watch, it's ticking, a promise that each moment counts. In Sam's laughter, I found renewed purpose. Love isn't defined by fidelity alone, but by the resilience to transform betrayal into a harmony of new beginnings. I remembered my last words to her: "Please be home by bedtime," I'd said, voice strained after I'd stumbled through another late work email. She'd shot me a glare and thrown back, "I need some space." Then her heels had pounded down the hallway, and the door slammed. Now, evidence of something more than space stared back at me. I slid the phone into my pocket and stumbled to the framed wedding photo on the counter: Laura and me beneath Boulder's autumn aspens on October 5, 2018. Her head had rested on my shoulder, our smiles bright. I ran a fingertip along the glass, as if that simple touch might remind me how we once felt. Instead, the image felt brittle, an echo of a promise unraveling. Stay calm. Think. My internal monologue braced itself. I pictured Sam's soft breathing in his crib, the morning light falling on his tiny hand. I couldn't let panic fracture our routine. I poured the rest of my cold coffee into the sink, wincing as its metallic aftertaste stung my throat. I opened our shared messaging app and tapped Trey's contact, now saved as T. Marshall, only to find it silent. No recent call, just a reminder that I'd muted his notifications weeks ago. I forced my gaze back to Laura's photograph on my screen, sliding my thumb over the image one more time. The kitchen light flickered, an electrical hiccup or my pulse thudding in my ears, and I closed my eyes. I could almost hear the lullaby I used to sing to Sam, feel the warmth of our Sunday pancakes. But that life had fractured at 11:17 p.m. on April 12. I exhaled, steadying my racing heart. My next steps mattered: confront her now and risk an argument, or gather proof and protect Sam's world first. The pocket watch ticked on the counter, each second a reminder that time was both my enemy and ally. I grabbed my keys and bolted out of the kitchen, determined to trace every clue, starting with the green mill.